Travis Wayne Goodsell, take two. So, yeah, I'm hilarious, aren't I? So clever. Mormons are pissed. But Nelson is not a translator. Did the video last night. Showed you in speech that Nelson can't be. He can't be called a translator. Now, he has an out. He doesn't claim to be a translator. They skip that in all of the loyalty oaths of the church. I mean sustaining votes. And yet it's clear from scriptures that he's supposed to be a translator. Yeah, because Brigham Young took it out. Didn't want anything to do with translation. Doesn't want the learning of the Jews. He's now Christian. Jesus. Doesn't want anything to do with the Egyptians. Christian. Jesus. And so Joseph Smith was erased and replaced with Christianity and Jesus, rather than the learning of the Jews' language of the Egyptians. So yeah, no wonder Nelson is not a translator of Hebrew and Egyptian. They don't even claim to be translators, as they're supposed to be if they were the true president of the church. And so the true president of the Church for Mormons is described by Joseph Smith as being a Mormon in the future. Yeah, a Mormon who's going to be your Christ. And yeah, you will identify him because he will actually be a translator of Hebrew and Egyptian. So good luck hunting. I hope you find him, because we're in the final year of the latter days, and all hell's breaking loose. Because apparently the House is again going after Social Security because it didn't work for the debt crisis. That's what they wanted. That's what MAGA was upset with, by Democrats caving to their extortion threat demands and approving it. It didn't have the gutting of Social Security that they all wanted. And so they're trying again. But they don't have any bargaining chips here. I don't know how they're going to get away with this, but this is the church's next attempt to try to destroy America and get their kingdom back. That's what it's all about. They're the great and abominable church. Daniel Jackson, not me. All of these gifts are science-based, and so any of you can learn them and get them. You chose not to. So how does that make you feel? All of you who claim to be messiahs. You're not a translator. Nah, 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 nah. Alright, let's get back to what I was wanting to go over. So, facsimile number 3. I didn't have it translated back in my day. So when I went to my mom and said, "Mommy, what does this mean?" She didn't have an answer for me. And instead of saying, "I don't know," she said, "Well, you wait until you are older and go through the temple and get the Holy Ghost and the priesthood and the blah, 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 blah. Just say you don't know, Mom. Just say you don't know." Because if that were true, she would know. And she's not telling me. Which is also what I'm pissed with her about as a little kid. And so, yeah, I didn't have Wikipedia that has the translation according to the current Egyptological knowledge of translation, which is incomplete. and a bit off course, because Egyptologists only know translation of Egyptian because of Jean Champollion's decipherment of the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone showed Greek with the Egyptian. Egyptian is not an alphabetic language like Greek is. So what the Greeks were doing, the Ptolemaic period technically, were imposing their alphabetical Greek onto the Egyptian in order for them to render a translation. That's how Egyptologists are able to translate this, because of the Greeks imposing an alphabet onto the Egyptian. And so it's incomplete. It's not a one-word translation. These are pictures. There's more to it than what Egyptologists are telling us. Plus, there's more characters that are not listed in the sign lists. Each of these characters that are large size are not listed in Sir Alan Gardner's sign list, nor Budge. I don't know why they keep reprinting his works. Budge's sign list is even bigger than Gardner's, but Gardner's has been given more credibility because he's a sir. I don't know if Wallace Budge, I think he might be a sir. Not sure. Doesn't matter. They're not very good at their jobs. Because Daniel Jackson is right. Pyramids were built before the 4th dynasty. Long before. It's an established fact. Why can't the scientific community accept the fact? I'm referring to Stargate, in case you haven't figured. And so, yeah, those pictures that are only explained by Joseph, not translated by Joseph, he doesn't render a translation of this facsimile like he did the first two. What? Where? Where is it? It's Abraham, chapter 1, 3, 4, and 5. But he's kind of fudging at the end there with the creation. He's not actually doing a translation there. He's just copying Genesis, putting in a few word differences. The gods met in council type stuff. Elohim is plural. And so, yeah, I'm sure some of you probably know that there's an error here, and so therefore Joseph Smith isn't a translator. Oh, we got it wrong. Because the figure 4 obviously is female, and Joseph Smith is referring to her as the Prince of Pharaoh. Oh, how silly Joseph Smith is. Can't translate worth a lick. And figure 5, figure 5, Shulam, one of the king's principal waiters, as represented by the characters above his hand. Oh, how dare Joseph Smith get that right. He was so lucky on that. But he was wrong. Because 5 is the Prince of Pharaoh. Shulam is the principal waiter. And then Olimla is a slave belonging to the prince. Yeah, he's the officiator helping you through the temple initiatories when you go through for the first time. He's the ordnance worker who tags along, helps escort you to all the different places you need to go. Yeah, that's him. Whether he's black or not, doesn't matter. And yeah, Egyptologists are right. How dare they put a human face? It's supposed to be Anubis, the son of Osiris and Nephthys, the wife of Set, after Set lost the kingdom and had to be banished. So his wife needed to be given to his brother to take care of, according to the law. And so they had a son, and Anubis is his name. And so, but he's also right to not put the head of Anubis here, because it's an actual human priest who reenacts the role of Anubis. And so facsimile number 1, for example, Anubis is shown as a human head. And everybody laughs at Joseph. Oh, he doesn't know how to translate. No, he got it right. It is humans who do this work. And in his translation, he says it's a human who's trying to kill Abraham. Yes, he got it right. Dumb Egyptians just want to be exclusive to claim Joseph Smith is wrong, and Mormon apologists don't help the matter. And so then you're probably going, well, Joseph Smith is wrong about the female pharaoh. There was no female pharaoh during the 18th dynasty. Really? Are you sure? Hatshepsut? Does she ring a bell? Does she? What happened to Hatshepsut? What was her story? What happened to David Moses II and David Moses III? It's just like they know the answer. They just are unwilling to accept that Joseph Smith is a translator. So yes, she's the female pharaoh. And so yes, Joseph Smith can put Abraham on the throne. Why? For the purpose of sealing his son Isaac, David Moses III, to Ma'at, his wife. Ah, dear God. I have to do everything for you guys. And so, yes, this is a sealing. You can tell because they're holding hands. And they're bringing their right and left arm to the square. Wait a minute. I thought it was supposed to be the right arm to the square. What's the prince doing with the left arm to the square? Well, because he's using the other hand to hold her hand. You can see the square and the compass on their magic underwear behind the robes. Oh my God. And so, this is not just a sealing ceremony. This is also for coronation. Too fun. And as for coronation, in order to become pharaoh, you also have to be married, sealed, bound together, tied, strapped. S&M. I don't like that. I don't do bondage beatings. No siree. But that's the whole concept, is becoming one. You know, like the Star of David, the two double D's of Delta. joined together to become the sun at noonday, Emmanuel. That's the whole purpose of marriage. It's because Emmanuel cannot become Emmanuel without an Emmanuelette, or Emmanuela, depending on which grammatical termination you use for the feminine singular. And so this is what's missing from the translation of the book of Abraham, is his son Isaac becoming Pharaoh. Dun, 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 dun. So it's important to use science when living your life, because otherwise you can screw up and botch things like Nelson does, frauding Mormons, claiming to be a translator and can't even translate worth a lick. They won't retranslate the Bible correctly. They won't finish the translation of the Papyra of Abraham, as it's called. They won't even get in touch the Joseph Smith Papyra. And you'll notice they don't even include the Joseph Smith Papyra, except in facsimile number 2, in the little segment that was gone from the original hypocephalus. And so it was taken from the Joseph Smith Papyra and put into that location. So Egyptologists go, oh, Joseph, he doesn't know how to translate. No, he did. And even though it wasn't what it was originally, Joseph Smith, in making the change, made the change in his translation. Chapter 3. Chapter 3. And so, as much as people love to pretend that only a PhD gives you knowledge, what are you giving me grief for? What the? If you don't use science, your PhD is worthless and it should be stripped from you. Right, Todd? Oh, you're not watching me anymore after your humiliating defeat? Let's put you back in your file where you belong. Okay. And so, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints keeps pushing psychology. Even though Oakes came out to the youth in that devotional this year, a couple of weeks ago, to condemn the youth for going to family services for mental treatment. See, that's how Oakes knew that a lot of you are going to therapy, and condemned it, because the church has the therapy for you to go to. They cause the problem, which results in you getting mistreated, and then victim blames you for what they caused and got you mistreated for. It's just pure evil. Evil. Yes, family services, as it's now called, because Jesus hates nicknames. And it's a major victory for Satan. How can you not get a clue? Seriously. How do these things not trigger in your mind, that's false, and leave? No, instead you go, he's a living prophet of Jesus, I must obey. I am zombie. Apocalypse. I mean, seriously, this is what psychologists do. They are a fraud. That's why the church embraces them. And they are the puppet masters of psychologists. In Utah, I've done the connection. I've found the connecting link between the church's family services psycho ward, the University of Utah's psycho ward, and Valley Behavioral Health psycho ward. They're all tied together. There are employees who work for at least 2, if not 3. They just go back and forth between all of them. And so the church knows all of this information because the church runs family services. So family services has to give reports to the church. And so BYU's, their science fields have been infiltrated by psychology, sociology. Right, Todd? Dumbass. Dares to come after me because the church threatened your job. But apparently Oaks revealed you're still working there. Good. You deserve to work for the church. Because that's the best you can do with your PhD. Who's Todd? Who's he talking to? What's he talking about? And so, getting sidetracked. Psychology is evil because, as Valley Behavioral Health tells us, they're only concerned about behavior. Behavior is an outward symptom of an internal physical cause. And then the physical cause may actually be external, not actually internal, but it's internal in the sense that that's how your brain processes the physical information about it. So, for example, you're traumatized by somebody trying to murder you. That produces an outward behavioral symptom of panic and fear. Psychologists, however, ignore the fact that somebody's trying to murder you. They see the outward symptoms of fear and panic and paranoia and go, oh, you have a mental illness. Let's give you some drugs to treat your symptoms. Symptom management. If medical doctors were to do that kind of medical doctoring, they would lose their license, be banned from ever practicing medicine ever again. That is abominable for a medical doctor to do. But psychologists are not medical doctors. And so psychiatrists can dope you up with all kinds of drugs for human experimentation for the pharmaceutical companies and not have to worry. And there's doctor-client confidentiality with them too. They're not real medical doctors. They're not medical doctors. They're PhD doctors. And they have infiltrated BYU with this symptom management. And so even in the medical profession here in Utah, oops, they're causing harm, violating the Hippocratic Oath by embracing a field that they are not in. And so, yeah, I'm a personal victim of several medical doctors who are claiming to be psychologists. It's just sick and wrong. And they get angry when you point it out to them. And they deny you treatment if you point it out to them. Right? And so other fields, sociology. Right, Todd? It's all about poll taking of opinions. Opinions are the external response of behavior. It's a behavioral response, an emotion response. That's what opinions are. It's not based on science. Opinions aren't science. You don't use scientific methodology to come up with a belief. It's fake. It's not real. But I have beliefs. They're real. Of course they are. But there's no substance behind them. No physical substance to justify them. You're not understanding science. And so, when you hear the left-wing media, and even Fox News does this too, when it suits their purpose, to get ratings, they'll tell you, wow, 57% of America thinks Biden sucks. You've heard the polls, and they make it a news story. Well, if you understood, there's only 1,000 people that they polled. How many Americans are there? Over 300 million? And they're saying that 57% of Americans believe? Yeah, they're manipulating you big time with their poll studies. They're trying to make policy changes through the news to force Biden to do this or that, or a congressperson, or get Americans to get riled up for what they want you to get riled up for. You know, the caravan. 68% of Americans believe the caravan is the deep state Dems working with Al-Qaeda. And so you're all riled up. And you go down to the border to fight for this country. Keep out the illegal aliens. Yeah, they're pulling your strings. They're your puppet masters, using psychology tactics to brainwash you. And you fall for it as I hear you chant their quotes, chant their lines. And it's very dangerous and very deadly. And it all comes from a Mormon, Stanley Smith Stevens. He's dead now. May he burn in hell. He used the scientific categorization of dichotomous and non-dichotomous categorization. It's how you classify physical appearance of objects so that we can determine whether a tomato or a tomato is a fruit or a vegetable. Tomato, potato, who cares? Potato, potato is potato. I miss the late night comedy. Where are they? Writer's strike. What are you doing? They're wanting to keep the traditional way of doing business, and they don't want AI to replace them. I understand that. It's not like they can't do other jobs, but they've already got a job, and they don't want to lose their job, so they're striking and not working, not getting paid to fight for their job. when America changes the work system, there's pain that goes with it. And if Americans are not able to recognize the change that's coming and transition into it with the new technologies that are emerging, you're going to be a coal miner wondering what you're going to do with your life now that you've lost your job because they shut down the coal mine. I saw that. I was part of the transition phase into the computer technology world as Rick's College was trying to help by providing computer programming courses and such. I stayed away because I failed DOS in high school. If it hadn't have been for driver's ed to make up for it, with the A in driver's ed, F in DOS, I got a C in the class at the end of the year. I think there was something else in there too. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. But, dear God. Yeah, I knew because of that, the new technologies, that's why I didn't go into architectural design, because it's no more drawing blueprints of houses. It's now computer technology, and I already knew I failed DOS. Why would I go into computer programming to do architecture? I have a program now. They've improved from DOS. Thank God. But, yeah, the other fields at BYU's and Rick's use psychology. The church is using it because the church is, as a religion, similar to that process of Stanley Smith Stevens. And the way it works is dichotomous, is one way or the other, my way or the highway. You're either this or you're that. And then there are subcategories in those. So you're either a fruit or a vegetable. For psychology. Hilarious how they did the... There are subhuman categories of fruits and vegetables in psychology. And that's exactly what they're doing. It's all name calling. Because it's not about your physical appearance. Oh, you've got a huge growth where you shouldn't have a huge growth. And a medical doctor would look at it, do standard measurements with scientific tools to find out what it is and what they can do to get rid of it, as it is an anomaly. But no, it's all behavior and psychology. And so they're name-calling you. You're a crybaby. You're a snowflake. You're mentally retarded. Oh, we don't use that word anymore because bullies picked up on that and started using it in the school systems? Yeah. Now it's mentally ill. Nope, can't do that either. You've got a behavioral problem. You're behaviorally challenged. And that's what they're doing. Name-calling you like a bully does. That's why bullies pick up on it so quick and easily. They understand bullying. And so during the 80s, everybody knew that psychologists were quacks. They even called them quacks. Psychos. Oh, there's a movie Psycho. Oh. The field is a joke. So what happened? How did they dominate America? To get everybody to be snowflakes and to believe opinion polls. The big zombie apocalypse soldiers for the particular left or right-wing army to divide and conquer. Stanley Smith Stevens, Mormon, because the church is tied to this secret combination group. I've done the videos, guys. Been pushing it lately because this is the final year. Church has got to destroy it. And that's the latest thing, is they're going to try to gut Social Security to cause a panic and get everybody triggered to start a war. Grandpa's going to go ballistic because you're tampering with his Social Security, Mike Lee. Mike Lee is a joke. He publicly says, "Oh, I'm not going to try to get rid of Social Security." And then a video emerges of him saying, "I'm going to get rid of Social Security." And then he denies that he said it in the video that they show him. Then he goes into hiding. "Oh, I'm not available for comment." What a joke. He's doing that for the church, to destroy America. That's why they were upset about the debt bill. It didn't go far enough to destroy America. It still was sufficient for the Dems to approve it, cave to their demands, and hurt the poor. Just not all the poor, not the final blow to the poor. So here they come again. But when Nelson gets up and tells you that Jesus can heal you, he needs to be banned from YouTube and all social media platforms. He is seeking to cause you harm. Because Jesus, for one, is not real. Christianity was created by Constantine, thus created Jesus, replaced the Jewish scriptures with Jesus, because it's the learning of the Jews, not Christianity interpretation. When you change the interpretation of Scripture, you alter the theology. So yeah, no duh. It's Jewish Scripture, thus it's Jewish interpretation, thus it's Jewish theology, but Christians, with a different interpretation, came in and changed the theology. So now all of a sudden Jesus is real. Lived during the Roman period time because the Jews said so. And people can't figure it out. This is a direct attack on you, to treat you as dumb, to get you to become a zombie slave for them. They're puppet masters. We're using master of puppets for the brain sickness here. Master of puppet. I'm your puppet. And the church, by wanting to conquer America to restore their kingdom, is pushing this anti-science psychology on all of you. Not just to destroy Brigham Young or Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon, but restore Brigham Young's kingdom with full-on Lucifer, because the Book of Mormon is porn. The Bible is porn. So we'll do away with all the scriptures. We'll do away with Joseph Smith, because he was Book of Mormon. You can't have Joseph Smith without the Book of Mormon. The two go hand in hand. So in order to get rid of the Book of Mormon, you have to get rid of Joseph Smith. So Joseph Smith is the pornographer creating the Book of Mormon as Christian, not learning of the Jews. Excuse me. And so then you realize the big plot that they're doing here and why they're pushing this anti-science thing on you guys to destroy. And all you had to do was recognize that Nelson is not a translator, and you would wake up from your zombie state and get the hell out of the church. categorizations of name calling, they succeed when you believe them. See, they're name calling you like a bully does. When you submit and accept that you are the name that they're name calling you with, they got you. You have now self-fulfilled their self-fulfilling prophecy for you. They have bullied you into submission. So when Nelson did his little peace stunt, renewed it over Sunday and then yesterday, that's what he was doing. He was name calling you. He was beaming moat big time. And in so doing, if you fell for his tactic of bullying you, and you're going, oh, Nelson, you are my example of someone who is a peacemaker. You know that's what he wants. He wants to see how Mormons are brainwashed. If Mormons are going to post that Nelson is their example of being a peacemaker, when he bullied you, name-called you as wicked. And you fell for it. I don't have access to Facebook, so I can't check all of the comments to find out how many Mormons fell for it. So if any of you want to help out and do a posting and link me to it, I'd appreciate it. It'd help if you also counted them, so I don't have to do the work. But that's the tactic he pulled on you. How many Mormons are suckers and losers? Because peace is an emotional response. It's a behavior. And there's a reason why Mormons are not at peace. And it's because of the church. They caused the problem with their misinformation and their miseducation of the religion. Telling you we're Christian with Jesus. And then you become victim blamed with what they caused. You need to find someone else who's an example of being a peacemaker so that you can repent and become a peacemaker. He's purposely trying to rig the system for zombies on social media. The church used to come out and condemn you on social media for only pointing out the good things in your life. And here Nelson is doing it again, using social media to only point out the good things in life. Only positive vibes. And again, psychology. Positive and negative. Oh, we can't have any negative on our children. They might have trauma. Require therapy. So we'll just have a pass-fail grade so that if they participate, they pass. Oh my God. Do you see the bigger picture here? And so, yeah, this is a big old scam that the church is pulling, and it's a dangerous and deadly one because it's leading to Armageddon. They're getting you to do it so that they can be innocent. And I've told you, psychologists came from Nazi Germany. We gave them asylum to work with the CIA. And the CIA have been declassified with their brainwashing from psychologists. You got MK Ultra that just had a movie come out in which they used LSD to change the behavior. So despite the cause of your behavior problems, they ignore it. They're trying to change your behavior through drugging so that you ignore the cause in your life that's still going on. So you're being abused at home or at school. School shooting. You can use a school shooting. They bring in psychologists, not to let the kids know that it was another kid who was involved with the shooting. No. You are traumatized, and so they're now drugging the kids to change their behavior, to get over it, to deal with the new normal of school trauma. And that's just evil, because the evil criminals are not getting stopped. That's the problem, is somebody committed a crime. They need to be punished for their crime. And they're not getting punished for their crime. And so the kids are left victims and vulnerable to future crimes. And all they're doing is trying to teach them how to live in a hostile environment, rather than removing the hostile cause. This is symptom management. That's why psychology is so evil. That's why the church is so evil. Because the church caused women to be depressed. And thus women go to the therapists that the church knows about and are the highest per capita in the world ever for taking depression meds. So that's all they're doing to you, is constantly drugging you to change your behavior. But the problem still remains. The church is still abusing you over the pulpit of conference and in the church news and etc. And then other people who are bullied by the church to bully others. And that's often why you see victims becoming the criminal who becomes the aggressor towards others and attacks others. They have learned to be a criminal. That's what this danger is all about. Symptom management only tells you that criminal behavior is acceptable, and that in order to survive, you too need to be a criminal and bully other people. And so the behavioral fallacy lie, the dangerous lie, that fighting fire with fire helps for human behavior. So if women are unhappy with their male oppressors, they need to dominate men and replace them. No, that doesn't solve the problem. That just makes the problem worse. It's adding fuel to the fire, not fighting fire with fire. It's a false analogy. It's a blatant lie, not just a false equivalency. You need to treat people in the manner in which you would have them treat you. You know, the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so if women want men to stop abusing them, women need to show that if they were to abuse men, must therefore punish men, because they would want to be punished for being the abusers. So men need to be locked up in prison for abusing women. They need to be held accountable. And the Me Too movement helped, but then the Me Too movement was sabotaged by people who abused it, made false accusations, ruined innocent people's lives. Because there's a difference between being emotionally upset because a man said no to wanting to marry you, and being upset emotionally because a man beat you. There's a big difference. So, yeah, that went way longer than I expected, but the church is causing the problem. And until Mormons realize this, they're in great danger.